Good evening and welcome to Somerset County Library's Personal Enrichment Series online. Tonight we'll be learning how to use Google Draw, and we'll be using it to make infographics. Now, infographics are an easy way to convey information using pictures. A person can see a picture of something and immediately they know what's going on. So that is what an infographic is. And we're going to be using our Google Education Classroom. And let me show you how to get into that. And we're going to go to Applied Digital Skills with google.com. And when this screen pops up, you just sign in with your Google account. And when you first sign into the account, you'll have to select Join a Class. And our class code for our Personal Enrichment Series is 8GQS3F. Just enter that in where it asks you for the class code. And what will pop up is a listing of all the classes that we currently have attached to our Personal Enrichment Series. You can do any of those courses at any time. It's available 24/7 at your convenience. So you can just log in, pick a class, and start working on it. And tonight we are doing Make a Promotional Flyer. And we will go through a series of short videos that will take us to our ultimate goal. And along the way, we'll have a chance to put what we've just learned to practice. So let's get started with making a promotional goal or a promotional flyer. And this is a flyer that can raise awareness about a project and recruit volunteers by creating a flyer in Google Drawings. And of course, you can use it for any type of promotional flyer that you want to use it for. If you're doing a bake sale, having a yard sale, church rummage sale, anything like that, it's free and easy to use. So let's get started. And we'll start the video.
When you're involved in completing a big project, such as a school improvement project or a neighborhood cleanup, you often want others to know about it. You may even want people to join you in completing the project. One way to raise awareness and recruit volunteers is to create a flyer to promote your project. In this lesson, you will create a promotional flyer for a large project you and your class or group might do together in your community or school. The example in this lesson is a flyer about a neighborhood cleanup project. You will create a flyer about a project you and your group or class will work on together. A big project, such as a neighborhood cleanup, involves many tasks to be completed and many people to complete them. A promotional flyer can make a project like this easier to complete by spreading the word to people around your school or community who might be inspired to either support or join you. As you complete your flyer in Google Drawings, you will set up the size and background color, add and format text, add and format images, and align the text and images in your flyer. This lesson uses Google Drawings, but you can apply these skills and concepts in any drawing application or even on a piece of paper. To work on this lesson, sign into your Google account. Open a new tab in your browser and navigate to google.com. If you're not signed in, do so now. If you do not have a Google account, pause the video and create one now. To begin, open your Google Drive, create a new drawing, and rename it. Then set up your drawing so it's the size of a typical flyer. Most flyers are the size of a standard sheet of paper. If you're working with a group, you can work around one computer and have one group member type the text, or you can each contribute from your own computers. Now it's your turn. Create a new drawing, rename it, set it to flyer size, and share it with your group.
Okay, and with this program, there's also a transcript, so if you missed anything during the video, you can go back and look at the notes here in the transcript. And I am already signed into my Google account. So I'm just going to click on the Google Apps icon, the thing that looks like a little waffle. And you can either go to your Google Drive, or you could scroll down and search for Google Draw. But I think it's a whole lot easier if we go from the Drive. So then we go to New, More, and Google Drawings. Okay, and to rename it, we just click on where it says Untitled Drawing, and okay, and any changes that you make to this file are automatically saved to your Google Drive on the cloud. And let's see, we needed a format. Do we need a format, or what was that what we needed to do? That's why I need notes. Okay, set up your drawing so it is the size of a typical flyer. Okay, so we changed our file name, and now we're going to change the size of the paper. So we're going to go to File, then down to Page Setup, and Custom. And I want to see what happens if we do 11 by 8.5. I think I know what's going to happen. Yep. So if I wanted my flyer to be in landscape view, I would do 11 by 8.5. But if I wanted to be in portrait view, it would be 8.5 by 11. Okay, so we've renamed our file, we've got our page set up. Let's go back to the presentation. Go away, toolbar. Thank you. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation, and we're just going to click on Next. Adding project details to your flyer. So let's start the video.
In this video, you will add and format text in your flyer. While flyers should be colorful, appealing, and interesting to look at, when people read your flyer, they should learn something about your project as well. Adding text to describe and explain your project will help readers better understand its purpose. Big projects often need volunteers or supporters. So use your flyer to encourage others to join your group in your efforts. To begin, add a text box to your flyer. Then add text to your text box. The text at the top of your flyer should get people's attention and communicate your project's purpose in an interesting way. To help people notice your text, change the font and size. Changing your text to all capital letters is one way to make it easier to see and read. You can also change the color of your text. Choose a color that you think will look good on a flyer and that will gain people's attention. You can highlight some of your text to add even more emphasis to it. Next, add text in another text box to tell more about your project. You should include at least one text box that clearly states what your project is about and what people can do to help. Then, format the text. You can choose a different font, color, and style, or you can keep certain things the same. Add emphasis to words or sentences that you want people to notice. You want others to learn about your project while also thinking about supporting or volunteering for your cause. Be sure to include important details about your project that people might need to know to participate. You might include the time, date, and location if there's a specific event. If people need to bring something with them to participate, you can include that information as well. Adding bullets to project details can make them more organized and easier to follow. After you've added all your project information, align the text boxes. This keeps all your information neatly arranged. You can also center the text in the text boxes to keep your information looking organized. Now it's your turn. Add project details in 2 or more text boxes, format the text, and align the text in text boxes.
Okay, so we need a project to work on. Insert a text box. And let's see. The friends group always has used book sale, so I think I'm going to do used book sale. And I'm going to highlight that. Oops, maybe. Control Z. Need to see if I can highlight this. There we go. Okay, so now I can change the size of my font. I want it really big. Yeah, we'll keep it at 60. And let's see, change the font style. And the color. Make it a part of our logo green, like our fluorescent green. And one thing I noticed is when your text is centered, you'll see that red line showing up in the middle of the page. That helps you to center your work. So if you want your text exactly in the center, that's one thing that'll help you get it exactly centered. Okay, so let me see, another text box. Let's see, what else do I want to say? Okay, that's a start anyhow. And we just highlight that. Okay, what font do I want to use? Let's see, Arial is pretty good. Maybe I want to make it bold though. And this time I'm going to go with our blue. We have our green, blue, and yellow that we used in the library. Okay, we have that centered. Now if I wanted to, I could change the alignment. Okay, and let's see. I guess we'll go on to the next part of the project and see what comes up next. Adding images. Images are what catch your audience's eye. So let's find out how
In
to
this
add
video, you will add an image to your flyer
images.
to make it look more complete and visually appealing. An image is a great way to bring more attention to your project. Images provide visual details that can help people make connections to the purpose of your project and your group's efforts to complete it. Images can often gain added attention that words alone cannot. To complete a big project like yours, getting as much attention as possible is a good thing. To begin, find an image to add to your flyer. You can use an image from your phone or computer. The image you choose should be suited to your project. You can search the web for an appropriate image if you need to. If you cannot find an exact image for your project, choose something that can act as a symbol for it. Choose an image that represents your project in a way that anyone seeing your flyer will understand. Search for the image, review the search results, and choose an image for your flyer. Make sure you have the right to use the image. Add the image to your flyer, then move the image and adjust its size to fit with the text in your flyer. You want the image to be large enough to clearly see, but not so large that it takes the focus away from the project details. You can add more images if you choose. You may need to move your text boxes to make room and align them with your image. Next, change the background color. You can choose a color that your group has used or will use in other project materials. Or use your school colors or a color that looks good with the rest of your flyer. Now it's your turn. Add an image to your flyer, format and align it, and choose a background color.
All right, so I want to add an image. Let's see, insert image. And let me search the web. If you have something that's on your drive, you can insert that. But let me search the web for, let me see, books. And as he said, you want to make sure that the image that you choose is part of the public domain, so you're not stealing somebody else's work. Anything that's in public domain is free for use. And I think I liked the one up here with the girl that was loaded down with books. Or no, she was sitting on top of her books. And again, once that red line shows up in the middle of the page, you're centered. Okay, and then, we have to do our background color. Okay, so we just right click on background, and do yellow. And I think I want to go back and change my font size. I want to make that bigger. Okay. And I'm going to explore a little bit here. I saw shapes. Okay, I want to insert a box. Behind her. And fill color red. And see, can I send that to the back? Yes, I can. I can change the order. Sending that to the back. Oops. Didn't want to move you. I wanted to move this rectangle. Okay, so just for an extra little bit of color there. All right, so let's go back to our video and find out what comes up next. Okay, now we have the wrap up. So he's gonna go over everything that we just learned.
When you're working on a big project to make your school or community a better place, it's important to get support. You want to let everyone around you know about the work your group is doing, so they can take an interest in your efforts and maybe even help out and join in. In this lesson, you created a flyer to advertise and get support for a community project you're working on with your class or group. Creating a promotional flyer is a great way to spread the word about a project you're taking part in. The flyer you created has details about your project that can inform others, get them interested, and perhaps persuade them to become involved. To create your flyer, you set up your page, You add it, format it, and align text. You add it, format it, and align images. And you change the background color. You can apply the digital skills from this lesson to create flyers for other purposes as well. Flyers are often used to advertise something for sale or a local event. No matter what you use it for, a promotional flyer is an effective way to spread information and enthusiasm and gain help and support for your efforts.
So you can go and, oops, you can go back to the flyer. Really explore a little bit more. With using the tools and inserting images. Oh, there's word art, lines, special characters. Okay, you can arrange, you can click on arrange in order to change the order of things if you need to bring something to the front or send something to the back. Center on page, horizontally or vertically, rotate. That's what I was wanting to know if I could do, is rotate something. Don't tell me, it just does that. So it just rotates things 90 degrees. I was hoping I'd have the option to be able to swivel things a little bit if I wanted to. Okay, so you can check your spelling. Nothing worse than printing out an ad, especially if you print out several copies of it and then notice that, oh, that word is misspelled. So it's nice to have that spell check there. And change how the lines look. Format options. Ooh. Yes, cool. If you go under format options, you have size and rotation, so you can actually change the size of an item here rather than using the boxes and your mouse. You can change the size, you can change the scale. So if you want it to remain, the ratio to remain the same, but you just want to change the size of the scale, you can do that. And you can change the angle. So if you wanted your box slightly askewed, you can do that. Awesome. Because sometimes things that are just all neat and lined up and organized is just boring. So I like things, sometimes I like something a little bit off. Okay, that's it. All right, so let's go on to the next step in our program, which I believe will be, yep, they have each program has a opportunity for you to reflect on what you've just learned. And you don't get graded on it or anything. It's just a chance for you to figure out, or just a chance for you to see what you did learn. And it's just a simple quiz. And it does help us to know how how the curriculum went over and if there's any problems with it or anything. The picture below, what should Ayaka click to rename her drawing? And it's B. Okay, Bellene is working with a group to create a flyer for a yard sale. What should she do so that her group can see the flyer and work on it from their own computers? You would share the presentation with editing access. Okay, Wang Yang wants his flyer to be the size of a standard piece of paper in the picture below. Which option should Wang Yang choose to resize his flyer to 8.5 by 11? And you would do a custom. And you just continue on with the quiz and submit it. And then you're given some options for things that you could do to even further your knowledge about this. So if you wanted to create a project logo or create art, adding word art to your flyer, add a call to action to your flyer, which adds external links to your promotional flyer to provide further project details. And that is a presentation for tonight. I hope you learned something new. I learned something new. I had never used Google Draw before, so this was interesting. And have fun making some flyers up, and we'll see you next time. Good night.